Hey guys, Silver here, and when Sega announced a couple years back that they would be reviving several of their legacy franchises, one of the games I was most excited to see was a brand new Shinobi, mainly because from the looks of it, Lizard Cube were actually working on this game. The same people who made other beautifully hand-drawn Sega revivals like Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap and Streets of Rage 4. However, unlike those games that Sega simply licensed out to Lizard Cube, Sega is now directly collaborating with Lizard Cube to make this new Shinobi game alongside actually publishing it this time. And despite me not having much experience with Shinobi aside from playing a little bit of Revenge of Shinobi as well as Shinobi 3 from the Sega Genesis collections, that didn't change how excited I was, as every time they showed off trailers for this game I was blown away by how amazing the visuals and combat looked. Well, after playing through the whole game recently, I can now say that without a doubt Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a masterpiece, and not only is it better than the amazing Streets of Rage 4, but it might just be the greatest 2D platformer of all time. Now, before we take a look at this game, one of the reasons it took me so long to cover it is because I had to wait almost a full week after this game's initial release because I just had to get it physically from Limited Run, so we might as well take a look at the game's physical edition right now. I'm unboxing the physical version of Shinobi Art of Vengeance from Limited Run Games. It is really disappointing that Sega didn't want to give this game a retail physical release, especially because it shows that they don't have confidence in this game despite this game looking amazing. But you know, at least Limited Run gave us a physical option, even though I'm not the biggest fan of them. But taking a look at the box, here you have the Shinobi Art of Vengeance logo as well as the beautiful 2D artwork of this game with Joe Musashi front and center. And this looks so good. I mean, I had to get this physically for the art alone. And here we can see that this game is rated T for teens, and we have the Sega logo with the Limited Run logo next to it. Here in the game spine we have the title as well as the Limited Run logo, and it's pretty disappointing because I really wish we had the Sega logo instead so that, you know, it could fit better with the rest of my Sega games on Switch. But anyways, here's the back of the game with screenshots, and let's take a look at the description. The iconic Shinobi returns, an all-new 2D action platformer with a unique hand-drawn look created by the team behind the hit brawler Streets of Rage 4. Amazing game, by the way. Here in the first screenshot it says, master the way of Shinobi, execute the ninja arts with precision, journey through a stylized world. And here we have Joe Musashi with his hot wife and new protege. And here we can see the Sega logo next to Lizard Cube, the developers of the game. And for this limited run copy, it is number 286, which is pretty cool. But anyways, let's open the game up. Here we have the inside of the box, and this looks so cool. As you can see, it comes with an art book, and here we have the cartridge for the game, as well as artwork for the inside of the case. And to give credit where credit is due, Limited Run did include the DLC for the physical version of this game. So in case you didn't buy the digital deluxe, you don't get to miss out on it. And here you can see the DLC includes a ghost outfit, medic light amulet, 2000 gold, Sega villain stage with one of those villains being Dr. Robotnik, and the digital art book and soundtrack. And here we have artwork of Joe Musashi and his wolf. And here we have the art book for Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and all of this just looks amazing. Yeah, there aren't too many pages, but still, this is really cool. I think these two right here might be my favorites. And then here we have a little note saying thank you for playing. And here we have the cartridge for the game itself, and it also has the Limited Run logo. And lastly, here's a better look at the artwork of the inside of this case, and this looks really cool. Before I finish this unboxing, here's Shinobi Art of Vengeance next to the other Sega Retro Revival games like Streets of Rage 4 and Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. It is pretty disappointing though how these two games were able to get physical retail releases, while Shinobi Art of Vengeance doesn't have a retail release despite being published by Sega. Moving on to the game itself, the story of Shinobi Art of Vengeance revolves around Joe Musashi enacting revenge on the evil E&E Corp led by Lord Roos after they've turned Musashi's Oboro clan and his loved ones into stone. Art of Vengeance has a pretty simple yet effective plot that does a good job telling a new story while also catching up on those that are new to the series. As for the presentation of this game's story, it's far better than the story presentation of Streets of Rage 4, as characters have actual voice acting this time around, as well as there's several cutscenes featuring still artwork in between levels. Though it is unfortunate that there isn't a fully animated intro like Streets of Rage 4, however the actual in-game animation and visuals are so insane that it honestly makes up for the lack of an intro. Moving on to the game gameplay, first and foremost, Shinobi Art of Vengeance is an action platformer, and in the action department, it excels in that. In my opinion, Shinobi Art of Vengeance has the best combat in any video game ever, especially in a platformer. It's just so much fun and addicting to defeat enemies, and it very rarely gets repetitive. The combat is far from a button mash or a slog to go through, as Joe Musashi is incredibly fast and agile, making any attack he throws at enemies feel and look so cool and stylish. There are several combos you can perform in the air and ground with a variety of quick and heavy attacks, primarily with your katana. There are also several upgrades you obtain throughout the game that increase your attack strength, give you new abilities, or more ammo for your shuriken attacks. Some of my favorite moves include the downwards kick, the roll slash, the double slash in the air. There are also several nimpos you can use, which are your ninja skills. My favorite to use is the thunder nimpo, where you dash through opponents with lightning speed. And if you fill up a gauge, you can also perform a powerful ninjutsu attack that deals heavy damage to every enemy on screen. Also, once you deal heavy damage towards an enemy, you can perform an execution attack that dashes towards an opponent and slices them, which is just the coolest thing ever. In fact, a huge reason why the combat is so goated is because of how cool the animations are in these fights. When it comes to the combat, as well as just the game in general, it's also extremely challenging, but in the best way possible. It isn't the type of challenge that leaves you frustrated, rather it's the type of challenge that makes you addicted to the game and pushes you to get extremely good at it. I felt so good when I finally defeated Lord Roos despite how stupid hard it was, but after several trial and error, I got good enough to effortlessly defeat his first wave with almost no damage. It's not just the combat that's incredibly challenging yet rewarding too, it's also the great platforming this game has. Joe Musashi controls so smoothly, from his double jump, his wall jump, his air dash, and his grappling hook. Levels also feature a great number of challenging obstacles that are incredibly well designed, and just like the combat, despite its extreme difficulty, completing these segments are extremely rewarding. Also, even though this game is a Metroidvania, it still doesn't take away from the primary focus of action and platforming, and playing this game gave me a newly found appreciation for the subgenre, as it was significantly less confusing than other Metroidvanias to know where to go, and this is a game where it's genuinely pretty fun to sometimes backtrack and to find hidden collectibles and secrets. I can definitely see myself 100%ing this game at some point. But enough stalling, time to talk about arguably the best thing about this game, being the visuals. The talented artists at Lizard Cube managed to top themselves after Streets of Rage 4 because the visuals in Shinobi Art of Vengeance are phenomenal. I love how rich in detail the animation and the worlds are. I love the sharp and gritty art style. I love how massive in scope every level is. Streets of Rage 4 felt like a comic book come to life, but Shinobi Art of Vengeance feels like a playable anime movie. Some of my favorite visual details include the traditional Japanese architecture and Lantern Festival, all of the bright colors and Sega billboards in Neo City, the ginormous kaiju monster that Shinobi faces that looks very similar to a titan from Sonic Frontiers, and the climactic feel of the assault where Musashi alongside his resistance charged the battle with E&E Corp. This game without a doubt has the greatest visuals and animation of any game period. Overall, it's because of these reasons that I believe Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a masterpiece, and I'm extremely happy to say that this is my new favorite 2D platformer, and I really hope that Sega and Lizard Cube continue to collaborate with each other. I'd personally love it if they made a new Comic Zone or a remake of another classic Sega Metroidvania, that being Tails Adventure. But anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts on Shinobi Art of Vengeance.